Mayor, you can proceed.
Thank you, Max. It is Friday, March 12th, 2021. This is a special meeting of the Commissioners of the City of Rehoboth Beach. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 4:35 p.m. We're going to start off with roll call. Commissioner Patrick Gossett.
Here.
Commissioner Richard Byrne.
Here.
Commissioner Pat Caluzzi.
Here.
Commissioner Susan Gay.
Here.
Commissioner Ed Stranowski.
Here.
Commissioner Jay Legree.
Here.
And I'm Mayor Stan Mills. We have a full complement. We have a quorum, and we're able to formally conduct business today. I'd also like to recognize City Manager Sharon Lynn is with us, as is Max Walton. Purpose of this meeting, special meeting, is to establish a date for any clear space Rehoboth Spotlight appeal hearings if and only if an appeal is ultimately filed. There was an appeal for Clear Space, an appeal for Rehoboth Spotlight filed timely today at 4:13 p.m. hand delivered by Wynn Achenbach on behalf of numerous appellants. So we have reason to be meeting today. And the purpose of this meeting, again, is to establish a date for the noted appeal hearings. I would like to recognize that Glenn Mandalis will be representing the Planning Commission in this matter. Max Walton will be representing us, the Board of Commissioners. A date to conduct the appeal hearings needs to be set in a prescribed time frame per code. Because Max Walton is representing us and because he has a tight schedule, there's little wiggle room in setting a date for us to conduct the appeals. It is either to be Tuesday, April 6th or Thursday, April 8th, beginning at 2:00 p.m. I'd prefer the April 8th date on a Thursday so we can preserve Tuesdays for special meetings, but if we need be, we can consume that Tuesday. I'd like to, before I ask for a motion, I'd like to poll everybody who can make it on April 8th. So we have, I only see, if you would raise your hand if you can make it on Thursday, April 8th. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I would like to entertain a motion to establish a date for the hearing for appeal hearings for Clear Space and Rehoboth Spotlight to be on Thursday, April 8th, beginning at 2:00 p.m.
Are we going to have discussion after that, or can we ask questions now? Huh? I can't.
I'm sorry. Max is going to explain the process to us, but I was going to have him do it afterwards.
So move, Mayor.
Okay, so we have a motion. We can have discussion, but let's get a motion by Commissioner Legree. Who gave a second?
Edward.
Commissioner Stranowski, we have a second. So we have a motion on the floor to conduct the appeal hearings on Thursday, April 8th, beginning at 2:00. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I have a question.
I've got some as well.
What are we voting on? What's a hearing on? Who appealed? I haven't seen one word, one document yet. What are we doing? I don't know that I'm comfortable voting on a date when I don't even know what's being appealed or anything. I'm clueless.
Max, do you want to?
If I could help. So yeah. We had heard that there was going to be an appeal that would likely be filed, and that's why we established this meeting today. And we just got the appeal, and I haven't, Commissioner Gay, to be fair, haven't even had a chance to read the allegations therein because I've only had it for 10 minutes. But the appeal has been filed by a number of people relating to the Clear Space and Rehoboth Spotlight matter that was before the Planning Commission. The appeal has been filed by a number of individuals, and I'm happy to read through them. Al Hoffman, Amy Sensing, Andrea Hoffman, Ann Hubbard, Chad Sensing, Chai Feldbaum, David Mellon, December Hughes, Dottie Blakely, Douglas Duncan, Eddie Heron, Elise Burns, Gail Richards, Harvey Schulman, James Pearson, James Eskew, James Michael Tubbs, Jan Heflin, Jan Conacy, Jan O'Donnell, Janice Miller, Jeffrey Good, Jennifer Duncan, Jim Heron, John Hughes, John Hall, John Metz, John Swift, John Neal, Joe Achenbaum, Judy Mellon, Julie Davis, Kenneth Conacy, Lenita Gomez, Linda Pickle, Liza Trey, Lynn Nellius, Margaret Neal, Marge Holman, Marie Hekavec, Mary Dodge, Michael Nolan, Mimi Parvis, Nan Hunter, Patrick O'Donnell, Paul Hubbard, Peter Weiss, Rebecca Helen, Richard Sargent, Robert Heflin, Robert Cabley, Robert Launder, Robert Lawrence, Ruth Eisenberg, Sam Cooper, Stephen, I'm not going to get this name right, Latissios, Susan Good, Thomas Evans, Tim Burns, Tom Childers, Walter Brittingham, Weston Nellius, and Wynn Achenbaum. So the appeal was filed. There were two separate appeals filed in both the one for Rehoboth Spotlight and one for Clear Space. Necessity for the today and to move this forward is that I am in trial most of the month of April and May, and we wanted to get this done within the 60-day time period. So the idea would be to set the hearing today if there were an appeal filed, and that's the reason that the mayor and I asked that this meeting go today. Again, I haven't had a chance to review those. This appeal is a little bit different than the one that we had previously, in that under your code, there is no opportunity to remand this to the Planning Commission, and there is a little bit different of a standard that's going to apply. As such, the code prescribes the dates and times when ultimately the papers are due in the case. So it's 21 days before the hearing and then 7 days before the hearing. And so ultimately, it is my recommendation, and what I intend to instruct the parties is that we really do not have the time, nor do we have the ability in this particular situation to file preliminary motions as there had been in the past, because you have to reach the merits of the question, because you don't have the ability to remand, because you have to make the decision and have the appellants move forward on the schedule prescribed in the code and on the manner set forth in the code. So I will, Commissioner Gay, I will freely admit that this was a little quick, but it had to do with my schedule, and I didn't want to be, have it go on and on forever.
Well, I can appreciate that, but at the same time, you just read off like 50 names. I mean, I had no idea, and I'll tell you now that part of my reason when we remanded, you just made a very good point when you said we don't have the option to do that. And part of the reason for my vote on remanding was that I thought it was the fastest, quickest move to resolution, because if we had to study it and vote on the merits, it would have taken a lot longer. Okay, we're at that stage now. And having not seen what they've come forward with, it's hard for me to know whether we're going to be able to truly address it, because we don't have a choice but to address it. I'm a little confused, that's all.
But it ultimately, Commissioner, it doesn't change the schedule that they would be under. I mean, when you set a hearing, you wouldn't get any papers any faster. You're going to get the papers on the same schedule, 21 days and 7 days beforehand. So it's just an opportunity really to read the appeal.
Right, but it gives them, I guess it gives them about a week to prepare.
That's correct. It gives everyone about a week to prepare. Correct.
Okay. I'll let other people talk.
All right, Commissioner Sernowski.
Yes, thank you, Max, and I appreciate your schedule and being a little preemptive in setting this meeting in order to do that. I appreciate that. I guess my question was, and I think you touched on it a little bit, is that, did we just set a date for the actual hearing, or are we setting a date for preliminary motions? The last time, we got some preliminary motions back from the Planning Commission, like a motion to dismiss based on standing. Is that something we can expect again, or we're going right into just a hearing?
No, we're going right into a hearing and there will not be preliminary motions, and I will instruct the parties that there will not be preliminary motions.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Coluzzi?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'm wondering in terms of ending, the same applies with this particular appeal as with the last appeal?
I'm
I'm
sorry,
sorry.
you blipped
Repeat
out.
that, Commissioner.
Okay, sorry. As far as standing, do the same things apply in this appeal as the previous appeal? In other words, the 50 or whatever number of people you read off, do they presumably all have standing because of the way this particular appeal will move forward, or?
So standing would have to be a matter that would have to be raised by one of the parties. In other words, I'm just going to wait and see what they say, right? And then we'll deal with that. I believe that based upon the prior ruling, I don't know how that plays into it. Obviously, I'm in the same boat as Commissioner Gay. I haven't read their appeal yet, so I just got it at 4:29 was the email to.
I'm assuming it'll be emailed to all of us as well very shortly.
That's correct.
It will tonight, yes.
So the only and so today the only purpose was to set a date. So when we're going to have the hearing, we'll
Okay,
have to sort those issues out. I couldn't answer that today, Commissioner Coluzzi,
okay,
or even have an opinion on it in any way.
that's fine. Thank you.
Any other questions? Commissioner Legree?
Max, will your communication with us be similar to what it was in the first hearing? If, as you recall, the communication that you had with us by mail and by documentations and advising us on procedures and options, can we expect that again?
Yes, Commissioner, you can expect that again.
So it sounds like it's mostly dependent on it sounds like you're going to be doing the bulk of the work, and you have decided on the time frame of your possibilities for time. So I think I accept all that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other commissioners?
Do we,
Oh, go ahead, Commissioner Gossett.
just, Mr. Walton, any expectations of when those communications from you might begin? That we would see it, certainly 21 days out, which is March 18th, but prior to that, any anticipation from your part of your schedule as to when we could begin seeing those communications from you?
Yes, there will be, I'm going to endeavor by the end of next week to provide a confidential attorney-client communication on the standards that apply. And then it would be after that regarding other matters as raised by the commissioners or in relation to an appeal I haven't read yet.
And in similar, previously, we're serving in a different capacity than an elected commissioner. We're serving as a judge, if you will. So that confidentiality aspect carries forward. Or could you just remind us all of that aspect?
That is correct. My instruction to all of you is not to discuss this matter with anyone because you are acting as a as a judge or as a decision maker. Ultimately, my communications with the commissioners shouldn't be shared with anyone. And ultimately, they are attorney-client privilege communications, just as if I was representing any other board, for example, the Board of Adjustment or any of the other boards within the city.
And we need to be mindful that Glenn works for the Planning Commission in this appeal, so we are not to be talking with him either in this matter. Anything else, Commissioner Gossett?
No, thank you.
All right, Commissioner Legree?
When will we be able to read the body of the appeal? Is that going to be public today?
I just said, Pat asked, and I said it would be sent tonight to everybody.
Okay, I missed that. I'm sorry, Mayor.
All
Thank
right. If there's no further questions, then I want to call the question, or if you recall, the motion is to establish Thursday, April 8th, beginning at 2 p.m. For the appeal hearings, plural, for Clear Space and Rehoboth Spotlight. I'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Patrick Gossett,
Aye.
Commissioner Richard Byrne,
Aye.
Commissioner Pat Galuzzi,
Aye.
Commissioner Susan Gay,
I'm going to abstain.
Commissioner Ed Chernowski,
Aye.
Commissioner Jay Legree,
Aye.
and the mayor votes aye. The vote carries. The first appeal hearing will be on Thursday, April 8th, beginning at 2 p.m. Max, do you have any further statements you want to make?
Can I have a clarification, Mr. Mayor? There are two
Yes.
appeals that are filed, and you said the first appeal, both appeals will be heard on that day.
Correct, correct.
And,
both.
So a question related to that. Is it necessary that the hearings are concluded on that same day? Is that an absolute, or does that just depend?
certainly, we would hope that the entire hearing would be concluded on that same day. But I will reserve judgment on that question because I just haven't had a chance to read it yet. And I would like a little time to be able to mull it over. But I mean, certainly they could be continued. There are times when hearings are continued or there's so much information that you need more time. But ultimately, they can be. I don't know that. I think that we're going to try to get it done all at once, if we can. But I just need before I make a judgment on whether or not this needs to be split up. I would need some time to take a look at it.
Sure, thank you, Max.
Thank you. With that, no other comments. We have our path forward. I'd like to thank the staff who helped run this meeting. They're staying late on a Friday, which is not typical. I also like to thank Ann Womack for receiving the documents late today and scanning them and getting them available to distribute to the commissioners. She will also be putting both appeals online on the legislative portal this afternoon or this evening, and you'll be able to find them in the document center under Clear Space and Rehoboth Spotlight with a brand new folder dated today. With that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.